Living Undocumented is a docu-series on Netflix that all of you should be watching right now. It's a bunch of interviews and stories with people who were living in the United States undocumented at the time of filming. And it goes into the story of how they wound up being in the United States and being undocumented. Another docu-series that you should also be watching right now, and this one's kind of like the flip side of the same coin, is Immigration Nation. This show came out like 5 years ago, and it's almost like a Cops style docu-series where they're running around following ICE agents. So Living Undocumented is about undocumented people. Immigration Nation is about ICE agents chasing down undocumented people. 99% of all American-born people have literally no clue how immigration actually works in the United States. An alarming number of people, both liberal and conservative, are walking around the world thinking that the only way that somebody would be undocumented is if they snuck across the border sneakily in the middle of the night and disappeared into the shadows. That's like 5% of what we're talking about when we're talking about illegal immigration. Most undocumented people who live in the United States are people who enter the United States legally, but on a temporary visa, one that's only good for a couple years. But these are productive, hardworking people, right? So at the end of that 3 years, they have houses and spouses, they have kids, they run businesses, they're making money, and they don't want to leave. So either they just don't leave and hope that nobody catches them, or they jump into some like crazy legal battle with the United States government to try to get some legal permission to continue their staying. There's also this whole other legal process called asylum seeking. Asylum seeking means you enter the United States illegally and then surrender yourself to immigration and say, yeah, I admit that I entered illegally, but I have a reason. And if you have like a good enough reason that like ticks all the boxes in like this legal checklist, then you can be permitted a temporary or even permanent stay in the United States. Traditionally, the kinds of people who won asylum cases were people who had like really extremely unique situations in their home countries. Think like journalists who were very critical of a tyrannical government and got a lot of attention for it. Or maybe like a union leader who stood up against a mob boss when that mob boss happened to be the guy who also owned the local governor or warlord or something. And you can't just like claim this stuff is true. You have to prove it. You have to bring a ton of evidence. Now, absolutely, there are a lot of people who know they're going to lose an asylum case, but still make the claim anyway. Because it normally takes like 2 or 3 years for a judge to make a decision on your asylum case. So like, at the very least, like it buys you extra time to get your affairs in order before your inevitable deportation. One weird thing about Trump 2.0 that is like very different than like every past president, even Trump 1, is that you used to be like good if you had a pending asylum case. But now all of a sudden that's a problem. Like in the past, they used to say, okay, the person entered illegally, but then entered a legal process to try to stay. So that's legal immigration. But Trump 2.0 says, well, you entered the country illegally, and then you tried to make a legal claim that you were in the United States, therefore it's illegal immigration. This is a development that actually confuses the shit out of me. If anybody's a lawyer and can explain to me, like, how it is that all of a sudden, like, people with pending asylum cases are getting picked up by ICE. Like, I understand that it is happening, but I don't get, like, what's the legal rationalization. There might not even be one. They might just be doing it. But anyway, please, this weekend, start watching either one of those two docu-series. There's also a bunch of asylum and immigration lawyers here on TikTok, so you should be following them right now because they got the good information.